Om Shanti, everyone. Let's do some meditation while we are waiting for people to come. Yes. Can you turn off the notification bell, please? People are trying to get in. Let's just have some meditation while people are coming. Just put yourself in front of Baba. What is Brahma Baba getting from Shiv Baba that fills his consciousness and comes out as his very pure and loving drishti? What has this soul realized? about his role, about the drama, about his relationship with Shiv Baba. And how close am I to that same realization? How does Baba use me? What does Baba feel in me so that I can have similar drishti as to Brahma Baba? When I see others playing their roles, when I see the situations that take shape, do I have a similar feeling to Brahma Baba? That everything is perfectly okay? Everything has been good, is good, and will be even better. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Here is still morning, so good morning from here and good afternoon everywhere else, or good evening. This morning, earlier today, I left you with 3 questions. We just quickly review those 3 questions. The whole aspect that everything is perfect, everything, drama is perfect, every soul has their role. Baba has an enormous impact on things when he comes. And of course he comes and it's his gyan, his deep understanding of how everything works that he shares with us, and that makes everything change. We start to change, we start to change our vision, we start to change our behavior, and that vibration of self-transformation starts to make things move towards the end of the old world and the beginning of the new world. So it's our purity that Baba needs, it's our consciousness that Baba needs, so that this task can be completed. So I asked the question, how do you practice seeing and doing things from Baba's perspective? How is that for you? What happens when you do that? So I imagine by now you've got some sort of an answer to that. Then the second aspect was how our consciousness creates our reality. We get stuck in Tamil Pradhan situations because our own Tamil Pradhan sanskars are still active, or we get caught up in a lot of crazy moving around, and that's because our Rajo sanskars of movement and being fast and quick are still in play. And sometimes we get caught up with our Sato sanskars, and they're connecting with the truth of something or someone, and we feel great. What is the main change in the way you think that would have the biggest impact, biggest difference in your life? So I asked you that question, and you should have given some sort of an answer to that. And the third question I made was, how as complexity increases, things become more and more unpredictable. There are so many examples of that. And this is where, because of the unpredictable nature of things, things can suddenly happen to anyone, anywhere, anytime. Something can happen. Suddenly something can happen. Suddenly you get a bad news. Suddenly you get diagnosed with a serious illness. Suddenly you hear of someone who leaves the body. So give yourself a mark from 1 to 10 for your reaction to the last time something unexpected happened, and why was that? These are all sort of tips of how to deal with the world that we live in. So you would have given an answer to that also. Now, the fourth lesson is about how everything is connected. You can see the top picture here is Hawaii. It's a map of Hawaii, but somebody did an interesting Photoshop of the Hawaiian Islands. And you can see, in fact, they're not really islands, they're the peaks of mountains. So an island chain, an archipelago of islands is actually just the peaks of mountains in the sea.
Brother Ken, I'm not sure if you're sharing screen, but we can't see anything.
No?
No.
Oh dear. Okay, so let me see. Very interesting. Here we are. So, yeah, this is the fourth lesson, everything connected. Can you see it now?
Yes, all good.
Okay, great. So on the top right-hand corner, you see the Hawaiian Islands, which is an archipelago in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And then somebody's done an interesting Photoshop on the bottom right photo. And you can see that they're actually not islands, they are peaks of mountains. So this island chain is in fact a mountain range in the ocean. So if you go down deep, they're all connected. And it's a very important lesson that, everything. If you go down deep into anything or into anyone, you will see the connection. If you go deep into Gyan, you'll see the connections between the different points. Once I used to do a very interesting exercise for Brahmins in a Brahmin retreat, very, very interesting and entertaining. I would take out the main points of the muli and put them on cards, print them onto cards. And so let's say there are 20 points in the muli. And then I would distribute those points, maybe 30 points. I would distribute them amongst the Brahmins, and then I'd put the people into pairs, and each of them had 1 point, and they had to do the exercise of what is the connection between my point and your point? What's the connection between Lakshmi Narayan and the Karmatit stage, for example? What's the connection between serving others and Trikaudashi, for example? So when you start to go down deep into the Gyan, you'll see the connection. Just like at a surface level, they seem to be different. But then you go down deep, just as you look at these islands, they are actually mountains. You see the connection. So everything that happens, and this is a great lesson, has a meaning. And that's why Baba says we should see the hidden benefit in everything. So a very direct instruction from Baba. And it's an interesting thing, because in 2006, Microsoft did a famous study of about 300 million SMS messages. They were more, you didn't have WhatsApp in those days. But they did this study and they established, using statistics and statistical calculations, that the distance between any two human beings was 6.2 people. That means I know someone who knows 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 0.2 of someone. So the maximum distance between any two human beings is 6.2 people. Anyone who's listening here know Pope Francis? Do they know Pope Francis? Probably not. Do you know Sister Moira from Argentina? Many of you do. At least you know someone who knows Sister Moira. She's our coordinator in Argentina. So you know her. She knows Pope Francis because he was a cardinal in Buenos Aires and she met him. So we are 3 people away from the Pope. Just an example. It's a very interesting thing, and it's probably the reason why social media is so popular, like Facebook and Twitter and so on. They are so popular because they connect people that otherwise you wouldn't be connected with. But the lesson here, the lesson we get from Hawaii, don't look at the superficial appearances. Find what connects them deeply. What's the hidden benefit behind things? This is a direct instruction from Bab Dada. Always look for the hidden benefit. So the question here is, think of someone with whom, no, the English is wrong here. Think of someone who has created difficulty for you in the past. Think of someone who has created difficulty for you in the past. What do you think he or she really wanted? What's behind that? What were they really wanting? Or even better, what were they really needing? Were they needing just love or needing attention? Were they needing to sort something out that was difficult for them? What do you think people wanted? The last time someone created difficulty with, now what you do is you put that person in front of you, and together with Baba, you ask Baba, what does this soul really need? Why was he creating such a confusion? What was there? What was the soul wanting? Was it soul wanting to be peaceful? Was the soul trying to become unfrustrated, to become less frustrated? He was letting out his frustration because he couldn't contain it. Therefore he was wanting peace. That's a funny thing. The soul became angry because the soul was looking for peace, but it happens. He was trying to get rid of something that was creating difficulty for them, and he became angry because he wanted to be peaceful. So what did the soul really want? Think about it. Write down the initials of the person, write down the situation very quickly, and then what was the soul after? What was the real thing that soul was after by doing that? It's a very interesting way to look at problems. There's a hidden benefit there. And when I can identify what the soul really needs, I can then become an instrument of Baba to help that soul get what they need. Okay, let's go on. There are 2 more lessons. This is a little bit more difficult to understand. Everything in the universe self-organizes. Now look at this dandelion here. Beautiful, isn't it? Now, all of that was in the seed. All of that beautiful design was in one of these things, which is actually a seed. So the flower grows, the whole process is there, the yellow flower, then the yellow flower becomes this beautiful thing. And that we play with when we were kids, we pick the dandelions and blow them, and all of those seeds get scattered in the wind. So it's not that somebody put that together. It was there. It was innate. It was part of that let's say, the DNA of the seed, and there it is. And so we don't organize nature, let's say, just using this example. But what we can do is we can influence it. So there's a garden, and what does a garden need? The garden needs some water, it needs some light, it needs some good soil, it needs air, in other words, oxygen, and it needs to be cared for. And then, of course, it will grow. But it's not that I have the desire to make a garden, but I'm not doing anything to make the garden. It won't happen. What I can't do is I can't organize. What I can do is I can influence. So even if I don't lift a finger, my life is already organizing itself, and probably not in the direction. If I don't do anything, my life will organize itself. I can influence the way my life organizes by putting in different characteristics. So the lesson here is we actually don't organize anything. We define the parameters. We create parameters. We create influences within which things get organized. Like we set up this course online. We didn't know how many people would come or how many people would sign up. We just offered it. And we didn't know who would actually come to every single session. So the lesson here is that we don't, people who are like perfectionists have a big problem in the world we live in, because they try to organize chaos. You can't do it. It's like trying to build sandcastles with dry sand. So if you want things to grow, this is the example, you have to invest in the natural ability of the people to become what they become. You have to create conditions in which that healthy growth can happen, or they can develop naturally. But this self-development is the same as self-organization. We can start to organize our thoughts, and that will have an impact on the way things are. But we can't go in front of a plant and just say, grow. This is the whole problem with expectation. If you expect, it's because you want that person or that situation to be in a particular way, and you get frustrated that that doesn't become like that. Everything and everyone will become what they are eventually. They will not become what we want them to be. This is a big, big lesson. So if you want things to grow, what sustenance do you give? What sustenance do you give to the service that you are organizing? Okay? Write down, just think for a minute or so, write down a few answers. Just one or two words just to remind yourself, what do you do? What do you do to create healthy growth in your department or in your center? Is it a healthy, growing environment? If there is there fear in the air, for example, probably won't grow, will it? So the next question and the last idea, this one here, everything in the universe obeys the law of entropy. Look at this young man who, 20, 30, 40, 20, maybe 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. The eyes are the same. The structure, the bone structure is pretty much the same, but you look at the aging process. Physically, we all go through that. So where are you? You here, or here? Where are you? And the same with our spiritual power, if we don't replenish our spiritual power, we just get, just gets weaker and weaker and weaker. That's why we have to meditate every day. We have to gain more spiritual power than we actually use. So all systems lose their energy through use and time. It's a mistake there. Through use and time. So periodically we have to inject new energy into the system. And if you look at this, where are you in injecting enthusiasm into yourself? How do you inject enthusiasm into yourself? Think about it. Think about it. What do you do to keep your enthusiasm up? Because if you're a leader and you lose enthusiasm, it will definitely affect the people you lead. It'll affect the things that you're trying to do. Okay? What do you need to do? To reinvent, maybe you need to reinvent yourself. If every day is just a repetition of the previous day, how are you progressing? In fact, this morning after that session, I was with the people organising the board members retreat in Melbourne in February. And one of the questions was, how can we know that we are progressing? What criteria do you use to know that the service you do is progressing? One of them would definitely be the atmosphere you create. People are genuinely light and happy and creative and enthusiastic. If it's heavy and sort of slow and half dead, there's something you need to do, right? There's something you need to do. What do you need to do to re-inject enthusiasm into yourself in the work that you do for Baba? Okay, have you written down some answers to that? Just one or two things. Now, what I want you to do is to split up into groups again, like this morning. And I want you to, the earlier session today, split up into groups, and I'll give you 15 minutes. I want you to share about your answers that you've written down to the 6 questions. And that's why I went quite slowly over the questions, and I repeated the ones from earlier today again now. And there are 3 new questions. So what do you need to do to inject enthusiasm into yourself? What sustenance do you give so that people can develop naturally? What do you think people want if they're creating difficulties for you? And then, of course, the other ones, why did you have such a reaction when something unexpected happened? What change in the way you think would make the big difference in your life? And how do you practice seeing things and doing things from Baba's perspective? So these are the 6 questions. Okay, so let's break up into groups now. They're random groups, but just press the join button when it appears, and we will have 15 minutes in the groups. And I want you to come back, if possible, with some questions. Okay, I want you to come back with some questions. If you have any, then we can clarify and go on. Okay. So please join the group if you haven't joined. Press the join button. If you haven't pressed the join button, press it. There's a few people haven't joined. And sister, you can tell me when just 1 minute before the 15 minutes is up, you can give people a warning, okay? And me too.
Sure.
Thanks.
Brother Ken, I think most are in the room now.
Okay, wonderful. Let's go back. Okay, so any questions, any comments from anyone? Let's see if we can help you. You can write it in the chat or you can put your hand up. Go into the reactions and click the hand up. Okay. Anyone? No? What did you talk about in your little groups? Anything? Indrani, you've got your hand up. Can we give her the
Shanti,
mic?
brother.
Put your camera on if possible, then we can all see you.
Okay. Video.
Yes, yeah.
So I was just thinking when you were saying something that happens suddenly and there's a sudden diagnosis and things like that. So yes, we are Brahmins. We know the lesson of the soul. We know karma philosophy, but we still have feelings and we still have to go through the process of especially of a family member who leaves the body and has played such a vital role, such a loving role in the family, and a very God-loving person, not actually a BK, but when you go through this bereavement period, we also go through that feeling of sadness, but we realize that Baba's energy is there. And also we take a bit of, what can I say? We take a bit of sorrow from the diagnosis, especially when it's like cancer. And how do we actually manage all that emotion? It's quite a bit to actually manage. So also the comfort that I can give to others. If I can manage myself, I can also give that comfort to others. I just want to check with you, Brother Ken. Thank you.
I think absolutely everyone who's listening in has seen some close relative leave the body. Mother, father, brother, sister, even children. And just think of the difference it is between having gyan and facing this and not having gyan and facing this. It's a vast difference. So I have to be fully in a gyan perspective and not halfway in it. Because if I experience sorrow, I'm not helping myself, nor am I helping the soul who has moved on. Because that sorrow will make the other one feel, especially if they don't have gyan, they're aware of that they've left the body. The soul is aware that it's left the body and it's gone somewhere else. And it's like these relatives who are sorrowing are trying to pull it back. And of course, it's more frustrating because the body is not there anymore, or the body is broken. And so the best thing you can do when someone leaves the body is to send them light, send them good wishes. That's using gyan properly. Okay, on one side of death, there's a bunch of people who are having sorrow. But on the other side, there's a family, a mother who's got the news, or she's expecting the new baby to come. So on one side, you've got one sorrowing family, and on the other side, when the soul moves on to its new part, there's another family very happy. And this has been going on and on and on. And we've been through this how many times? We've had 84 mothers, 84 fathers. We've had 84 wives or husbands, or even more than that. And we sometimes it's the same soul again that's leaving me again. So if I put everything in a bigger perspective, I can see that the only reasonable reaction is to connect with Baba and to send light to that soul. And that's the most loveful thing that I can do for someone. It's not loveful. It's not loveful to be, to go into sorrow. You're actually sending the other one sorrow as well. So this is something that takes time for us to understand. And so we know that soul consciousness, even at a personal level, it's a long-term practice of soul consciousness that prepares us for such a situation, because part of the sorrow when someone dies, someone moves on, is the understanding that that's going to happen to me also soon. So, I will also have to leave the body, and there will also be people sorrowing over me. I come from an Irish Catholic family, and the Irish, when someone dies, they actually hire people to cry. Can you imagine? As part of the funeral ceremony, they hire people who are professional wailers, professional criers. Can you imagine? And I always thought it was a bit odd. But, I'll just tell you one story about my own Lockheed mother. When I was 15, she had an operation and had complications in her operation. And in that operation, she actually died for 5 minutes. She was dead, clinically dead for 5 minutes. That everything had stopped. And she then came back into her body. And of course, I didn't have Gyan at that time. And she described, and this was before all of the studies of near-death experiences were around, she described that she was being pulled in the direction of a beautiful light. And she was looking back and she saw her body there, and the doctors trying to resuscitate it, doing CPR to get her heart to start beating again. And on the other side, she's just floating off into this light. And she said it was such a pleasant experience. But then as she was thinking, after a few minutes, she was feeling that she had to say goodbye to everything, and she was feeling quite okay. But then she started to think about her kids. And then something or the other, she came back into the body. And after that experience, she was completely transformed because she had left her body and come back again. So she knew what had happened. And that was such a transformation in her life. And it actually, on my side, it gave me an incentive to search for an answer. So what is it that leaves the body and can look at the body and is conscious? What is that thing? And then, of course, I came into Gyan later on and I understood it's the soul. And we must be in some sort of a subtle or astral body that can see things, that's aware of things. And so actually about 20 years later, she actually did leave the body, finally. But because she had been so convinced that nothing happened, no one, absolutely no one at her funeral was crying, because she had prepared her, look, I don't die. I don't die. I continue. So continue to have good thoughts about me. That's what she's told us all. So we got around, and by then I was already in Gyan. We had a meditation. We just sent so much light for her. And we felt that, yes, this is the best thing that we can do when someone dies. So, I mean, we have to put ourselves when something suddenly happens. It's not at that moment that I'll get the power or get the understanding. I need to have practiced it beforehand. I need to have practiced the bodiless state. I need to have practiced the understanding of the drama and the understanding of karma. I need to have practiced that so that when something happens, I can immediately make myself understand and adapt to that. Takes practice, takes real practice, but it's the best thing we can do. Anything else? Let me see some things on the chat here.
Thank you so much for the detailed explanation. Thank you.
Let me just read a few things. Yeah, who's speaking?
Andata from Mauritius.
Andata, Om Shanti Bhai. Lovely to hear you.
Fine. I thought when you asked a very beautiful question about if you had some problem with a bird, someone, and probably you to know what was the reason, what was he looking at, and you ask us to bring that soul in front of Baba and ask in front of Baba. And I did this very short, very quickly, because I had a problem with a person. He's no more working with me, or I work with him.
Can you put your camera on, Andata, please? Put your camera so we can see you, if possible.
Yeah.
There you are. Yes.
So I was working with him, but when we parted, but I still, whenever I think of him, the feelings of being uneasy were coming every time, and I could not get an answer then. But when you ask today to bring that soul in front of Baba and repeat what was happening and what was he looking that I couldn't understand, then the answer I got that, in fact, he was looking for security and freedom from the way he was operating, and he could see that I might be an hindrance to his security and freedom of the way he was operating. If I had known that he was not a problem to me, or I was a problem, but if I knew that he was in fact looking for some support of security, that I am not a hindrance to his way of organizing, probably I would have given more support to him, and probably we wouldn't have left each other in such a feeling of state. But now today I'm relieved. I'm very relieved. So I thank you for asking us to bring that soul to Baba.
You know, it's the ego that makes us blind to people's needs, the real needs. Anyway, I'm going to read out some things from the chat. Belinda's saying, I found the questions very provocative and so good to really think about the answers. Good sharing in the group. And here, Shuna is saying, we didn't get close to finish all the questions, but souls were very stable when something unexpected happens. 10s and 9s, bravo. And that is already shared. So Sophia from Athens. The person that caused difficulty, maybe he was trying to get rid of some anxiety to find peace in order for myself to sustain healthy growth, love, patience, and tolerance. Helped a lot. We have matured whereby disagreements are not confrontational, but more at the level of attitude and vibrations. How do we resolve this without being confrontational? We're going to see the answer to that in the subsequent sessions, because there are ways of understanding things that we're going to look at. That is happening now to my uncle that is close to leaving the body, and I know the family are holding him back, but I'm just encouraging them to let him transition to his new family. That's very good, very wise. Somebody said, lesson 5, everything is everything self-organized. That was the lesson. Where do I interfere? How do I find a balance between doing and observing? Oh, That's a very good question. So if you think the best way to influence something is try to imagine, especially if other people are involved, try for you to be as close to your original state as possible. And thereby you set up a vibration that starts to create a sort of natural environment where things start to sort themselves out naturally. If you are part of a situation that's very tense, then you know that the tension will probably make things worse. So if you can influence. The best influence that you can have is to become calm and stable internally. And if people are connected with you mentally and emotionally and in terms of relationships, and you become stable and calm, that will have an immediate impact at a subtle level on the people that are connected with you. So the first thing, the first influence, the first thing that you can do to influence things better is for you to be peaceful and calm and stable. And then in that stability, you may see things in a much clearer way. And if there's a lot of stuff going on, you can see the one or the two or the three things that need to be done with great clarity. And if you remember Baba, and you ask Baba, you bring Baba into the situation. Baba, what is the best thing that I can do here? Just invoke Baba and you'll get the answer. You'll get the answer. And we don't use Baba enough. We should use Baba much more than we do. Anyway, let's continue on. Just a sec. I'm going to share the screen. Yeah, here we are. Share screen. I'm going to talk about this one, the confluence of Brahmins. We come together. Why do we come together? And it's very important to understand. Each little place, it's not just the confluence age because it's the end of one cycle and the beginning of another one, the confluence between the Iron Age and the Golden Age. We know that. But it's also the coming together. We have been all over the place. We have been over many trajectories, each of us. Think of all of your births from the Golden Age, Silver Age, Copper Age, Iron Age, how many situations you were in, how many different experiences you had, how often in the Copper and the Iron Ages you activated your 5 vices, especially how many times you were angry, lustful, attached, you were confused and upset, and so many different range of emotions we've been through. Just imagine, how many things did we study? How many professions did we have? How many times have I been a man and a woman? How many times I've been a mother, a father, a child? How many times have I had a business? How many times have I had to go to school? Every birth I had to go to school, can you imagine? Had to learn alphabets. How many different cultures have I been in? Most of us spent many lives in Bharat, and maybe even this is our first birth outside of Bharat. So we're not there. Some of us may have been born in India, but most of us who are on this call weren't. So we've got a lot of stuff. We've got a lot of baggage. And some of that baggage is good, some of it's not so good. So when we come to Baba, we come having been through all of that stuff. So what do I bring to this Brahmin family? I bring maybe virtues and talents and so on, but I also bring things that have to be sorted out. Maybe I have a karmic account with another Brahmin, and that's why we are together. That's why there may be a clash. It's not only in terms of the Alokik world, the Brahmin world, but even the people who are in our connection in this life, even our family members. This is our highest birth. And so you can imagine those souls also are fortunate. They are together with me. They may not be in Gyan, but they are together with me in my highest birth. So there must be some reason for that. So when we ask this question, what do I bring to this Brahmin family? Well, of course, I bring a lot of experience, a lot of wisdom, a lot of, maybe I also bring a lot of confusion, a lot of things that haven't been sorted out yet. Maybe I'm in this situation exactly because I need to become tolerant. I need to become respectful. I need to become more comprehending of people. I need to stop being so timid. I need to be more courageous. So we all come to Baba for a reason, all of us. And what's the reason? And you know, I'm going to show you a picture here. It's very important to understand this. This is a picture of the confluence of two rivers. And this is the town of Manaus. Manaus is a big city, you know, it's the biggest city in the Amazon region. There's a couple of million people. And it's 1,500 kilometers from the coast. And it's at the confluence of two rivers. You can see them very clearly, the two rivers. One is the Rio Negro, which means black river. It's sort of a dark color. And the other one, which is like golden color, this is from the mud in the water, is the Solimões. And these two rivers come together. This one starts in Peru. So it's actually after this confluence that the river becomes the Amazon River. So this one starts up in Venezuela, this Rio Negro, and this one starts in Peru. And of course, it's the longest river in the world, this one on the left. And the more volume of water as well. So the Amazon region is not just the lungs of the world, as they say. It's the Amazon region is bigger than all of Europe. Just the forest is bigger than Europe, just to give you an idea of how big it is. And so what happens is that these two rivers flow side by side for 25 kilometers. They flow side by side for 25 kilometers. But because the volume of the golden colored water is more, after 25 kilometers, the whole river becomes golden brown color. And you don't see this blackish water anymore, this dark water anymore. So it's a beautiful thing, and it's a huge tourist attraction. The meeting of the rivers, they call it. And so what it is, what's the message here? Let's say the Golden River is Baba and all of the things that he's teaching. And it's the blackish river is where we've come from. It's like the Iron Age. So we come into Gyan. We come in having passed through all of these things, and we become blackish, and we come into this golden light. We come into this golden light here. And I have to allow Baba and all of the things that he's teaching me to absorb me. So I cannot continue flowing side by side with what Baba's offering. I cannot stay at a distance from what Baba's offering. I have to mix up. I have to blend, and that means the sublimation of the ego. It means the surrender of the ego. It means to recognize the value of what Baba's giving me, and therefore I just flow into what Baba's giving me. And in that, I just become golden, like Baba wants me to become. I mean, it's a beautiful picture. This river, can you imagine this is how big it is, 1,500 kilometers from the coast. And it's like 2-3 kilometers across here. So it's a beautiful idea. So when I come to Baba, I have to eventually surrender to Baba. Otherwise, it's too difficult to continue. I have to, if I want to have a close relationship with Baba, I have to give myself to Baba. And if I give myself to Baba, then I can be really the better instrument. In fact, I don't lose anything. I don't lose my individuality. I lose my individualistic tendencies. I lose my ego, but I become much greater with what Baba gives me. So we all start off in our original state. We have these divine qualities. And this is an interesting thing to look at. And let's say there's a situation. From my divine qualities, right? I come, let's say the situation is that same suddenly event, right? The suddenly event is there, the mother dies or the family member dies, the uncle dies, there's an earthquake, whatever. I've been in many sudden situations. I was giving a talk and there was an earthquake in the middle of the talk. So how did I react? And what happens is that if I am more grounded and I'm developing closeness with my original qualities, my deep original state, I'm soul conscious, I'm remembering how I am in the soul world, I'm close to Baba. So I'm developing that state naturally with time. It tends to take over. And you see, from that original state, there's an impulse. I would like to respond properly to the situation. So the impulse as it comes out from the original state is quite good. But in the middle, like at the moment, we're in the middle of the World Cup. And so why the score is so low, 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, that sort of thing. The reason why that the scores are so low is because most of the game happens in midfield. So we've also got a midfield. I have my original sanskars, and I have the situation that is happening in real time now. But in between my original state and the presently active sanskars, there's a midfield which is pretty messed up for most of us. And so now Rajo and Tamo sanskars are there. So I have my Sato sanskars here, but I've got my Raja and Tamo sanskars in between. And that they end up changing that impulse, and karmic accounts get involved. So what happens is eventually, what started off as a good intention, love, for example, becomes a contaminated virtue. And the contaminated virtues are called vices. Like the love here and the love here was pure and unconditional, but after all of that mess, it becomes attachment. The love has changed. The vices are like perverted virtues, contaminated virtues in a way. So as an example, let's say I like beauty, I like perfection, I like purity. I have the consciousness of those original values, but when there's a lack of that beauty, or there's a lack of perfection or a lack of purity, I get arrogant. How is it possible? However, have you ever got upset because someone wasn't doing something properly? What is properly? What does that mean? What it means is that you have an ideal of perfection. You have an ideal of cleanliness or purity. You have an idea of beauty, but the person has done something very ugly, very dirty, very, very confused, and you get upset. So what's happening is exactly that the impulse was okay, right? Like here, the impulse was okay. You want the thing to be right. You want the thing to be beautiful. You want the thing to be clean. So the impulse was correct. But what came out was, arrogance. You got upset. You got angry. And it's strange, isn't it? You got angry because you wanted something to be beautiful. You got angry because you wanted something to be ideally perfect, and it wasn't. So it's weird, isn't it? So there's a distance between what we are deeply and what we've become, right? That's why you've got these sort of anomalies here. And if you look at your values, here are some other questions now. Now I want you to write, I'll speak them slowly so you can write down your answers. From a reflection on your life, what inner qualities do you most value? So again, mistakes, a mistake in English. From a reflection on your life, what inner qualities do you most value? Do you value truth? Do you value purity? Do you value love? Do you value respect? Do you value honesty? What do you most value? Put down one or two things. There's probably a list, but what are the main two things that you most value? Transparency or truth, or do you value courage, for example, determination? What do you most value? Write down the two things. And as you write them down, truly appeal to Baba. These are probably the two things that have brought me into Gyan, by the way. I'm in Gyan because I value these things more than anything. And I know that Baba will make me develop them fully. So what do I most value? Got it? Why? Why do I value those two things? Why? Just write down a couple of things. Okay, now it's a little bit more about virtues. What other three values or virtues you already have that can help you to be a better leader? That's things that you don't have to think about too much. They are quite natural for you. Now, you may be naturally loving, you may be naturally gentle, you may be naturally organized, you may be naturally correct, honest. What three values or virtues you already have that can help you to be a better leader? So put down three, okay? Three things that you have. Some people may have already commented on these things regarding it. They've told you. Often when we have birthday, the other Brahmins come around, they tell us what virtues we have. So is there anything that's been common from what people have commented to me about? You are courageous, you are loving, you are like a mother. You are benevolent, naturally benevolent. So which three values help you to become a better leader that you have can help you to be a better leader? And then on the other side, what 3 values you need to develop to be a better leader. You realize you need to be more respectful, more open, more courageous, more daring, whatever. You need to be more determined. You need to be more understanding, more tolerant, more patient. What do you need to develop? So you've got 3 things that you have and 3 things you need to develop, and 2 things which are like the foundation. The foundation. So have you got it? Have you got them written down? Can we have a look on the chat? Can you write down, first of all, 2 values that you have, 2 qualities that you have naturally that are like the foundation of your spiritual life? Can you write them here in the chat, the 2? Kindness, somebody Eva wrote in the Greek group. Happiness, Cicely from the Greek group, happiness. I value inner truth and beauty. That's Maria, Athens. Love for truth, again, Eva. What else? Come on. More. Justice and truth. Sharda, French group. What else? Come on. Love and honesty, respect and freedom. There's something in Greek here from Sophia that I can't translate. Honesty and purity, courage, benevolence, kindness. Oh, what a lovely family. Introvertness, respect and purity, consistency and truth, purity and love and kindness, caring. This is very good. Honesty and cooperation. Yeah, and that is definitely like that. Truth and honesty. Mira. Carol. Purity and respect. Okay. Any more? Honesty and love, light and happy. Ah, wonderful. Okay. Now I want you to write down, okay, we can stop cooperative and loves. There's Vina, Newcastle, respect and truth. Malini, Aku, humility, honesty, mercy. What are the 3 qualities that you need to develop? And then, okay, let's just put it down like this. You look at those 3 qualities that you need to develop. What is the most important one for you? What is the most important one for you? Somebody written impartiality. What is the qualities I need to develop? Acceptance, clarity, and assertiveness. I want you to look at the 3 and just select the main one. Patience. Let's see. It's probably going to be a favorite here. Patience, courage. Oh, yeah, look at that. Clarity, respect, silence, determination, respectful, assertive, patience, tolerance. Okay. Fearless. Oh, that's nice. Non-judgmental, tolerance. Again, more tolerance. Humility. Somebody is saying, and better saying tolerance too. Carol is saying humility. Vinny is saying non-judgmental. Pradeep is saying determination, understanding, tolerance, humility, equanimity, tolerance again, tolerance, patience, courageous. So you probably, if you did a survey, you'd have top one is patience. Second one would be tolerance. And third one would be courage. And determination may be 4th place. Interesting, huh? Okay, let's continue now. Like, I want to stop here and do a meditation because we've only got 20 more minutes, but I want you to let's go back to this one. Yeah, here we are. I have to share the screen again. Okay, here we are. Share screen. This is just to finish off. Think of the answers that you just gave and ask this question. What virtue has been the most important for you in the last 2 years? What virtue could be something that you have naturally, it could be something you need to develop, one or the other. But it's been very important for you. It's been tested and tried out over the last 2 years. During the pandemic, in other words, and the aftermath of the pandemic. What virtue has been most important to you in the last 2.5 years? Got it? Look at your answers. It's probably amongst those answers of things that you have and things that you need to develop. What is the most important virtue for you? What has been the most important virtue for you over the last 2.5 years? And how would you symbolize that? How would you symbolize that? What is it? Is it like a tree? Is it like a lighthouse? Is it sort of a bridge? Is it a star? How would you symbolize that virtue? How would you symbolize? And I want you to draw the symbol somewhere on a piece of paper. Draw your symbol. Could be some hands holding, could be hands reaching, could be, an angel, could be a river, it could be the sun, could be a ladder, could be a rope. How would you symbolize that virtue? Just draw a simple diagram. It can be a children drawing, can be a child's drawing. Really doesn't matter. You don't have to be a great artist. But how would you symbolize that in a meaningful way? How does that love look like? How does that tolerance look like? How does that understanding look like? How does your determination look like? What symbol would you use? Now, as you're sitting there, and this is where we're going to finish off, you've got your symbol in front of you. Okay, now I want you to just become that. Go to Baba. Let's say you've written down maybe peace and silence was the most important virtue for you over the last, could have been for many people. For me, was really introspection was most important for me. And of course, my idea of introspection is really going within. So I've got a tortoise in mind, my symbol. I've gone inside, I'm staying there with Baba. So what was your symbol? And together with Baba's help, become that. I become the image of that virtue. So I'm sitting there with Baba. I'm understanding the importance of that virtue, how important it has been for me over the last 2.5 years. Could have been, for example, depth of understanding. So you have something, you've gone deep into something. So you've got a well that's unlimited well that you go deeply into. So become that well, become that tortoise, become that lighthouse, become your symbol. I'm connected with Baba, and Baba's giving me that understanding and the experience that I am the embodiment of that quality, that virtue. This is what I brought to this Brahmin family. And I should be spiritually proud of that. This is my special offer to service. I am that quality now. Just feel Baba using you to shine out that quality. You're just spreading the rays of that quality. Spreading those qualities to your department or to your center, especially to your little part of the Brahmin family or the Brahmin world. This is, Baba has made me understand that this is how special I am. So in the light of that experience, I want to just finish off this section. So how special are you? How special are you? Let's just check. These are just questions to check where you are and to reaffirm how special you are. You are special for Baba. You are special for the world. You are special for the service place that you helped with. So first question, and these may all have the same answer. What do you like to do that benefits others? And see if this is somehow connected with the experience you just had. What do you like to do that benefits others? It may be that you like to do something, but you're not getting a chance to do it. In this meeting I had this morning with the people organizing the NCCC retreat, one part of it anyway, this was a question because some souls are doing a role in service that it's not what they are. It's not what they can do best. They're doing something that they're actually suited for something else. So this question is, what do you like to do that benefits others? Maybe you are doing it, maybe not. So just write down a quick answer. What do you do well that benefits others? This is slightly different. One is what you like to do, and the other one, what you actually do that benefits others. Something you are doing already that benefits others. You've probably noticed, right? People appreciate it. the first answer would be you appreciate it, but others may not. But second one is that, yeah, you're doing something, and people are seeing that, and you are seeing that. So you feel more useful. Self-respect is very much connected with doing something useful for Baba and knowing that it is useful. Third question. This is a good one. What do you think Baba needs from you? What does Baba need from you? Does he need more surrender? Does he need more humility? Does he need more love? Does he need us to be more loveful, maybe? More accurate, maybe? More constant, for sure. Baba always talks about being constant. What does Baba need from you? And finally, what helps you earn your spiritual income? What helps you earn your spiritual income? What do you do when you feel that, yes, you're getting some benefit from that? You're getting your inheritance. You are accumulating. You are accumulating by doing things in a particular way. What? So that is there something that you like to do, and it's something that you do, and it's something that Baba needs from you, and it helps you earn a spiritual income, that's called bliss. If all of those four answers are similar or the same, then you must be extremely happy. If they're different, there'll be a little bit of frustration still. So next Saturday, we're going to start with this one, adjusting to others, the power of adjustment, accommodation. Okay, let's have a minute silence, and you can reflect on these answers as well, and we'll start off next session. I want you to reflect on these things, the questions and the answers that you had today. And when we start next Saturday, we will do a review of all the questions and answers and continue with that, looking at the power of adjustment, how to adjust to others, which is probably most of the work that we have to do in dealing with others and leading others. Okay, let's have a minute silence, and just to remind you that I will send you the presentation. When we finish, I'll send you the presentation, so you don't need to take all notes. I'll send you the presentation. There are also some videos that I've done in other courses that we can take benefit from. So let's have some silence just to finish off. So Om Shanti, everyone. We will be back same time next Saturday. Thank you so much. I hope I haven't been speaking too fast for the translators. So thank you so much for being. And just to review these, you review your notes during the week so that we can start up on Saturday, in a good space. Om Shanti.
Thank you very much, Brother Ken. even with your health and everything, unlimited heart you've got. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, brother. Om Shanti.
Thanks, Shirley, for helping organize this. Thank you so much, everyone. And we can start off next week and we can hear a few experiences, but try to practice these things during the week that I've talked about, especially the difference between the original state and the present state. Okay? Om Shanti. Bye.
Om Shanti.
Bye. Bye.